What's going on, YouTube? This is SG1 Sports, and you're watching our SEC football channel. In this video, we are going to preview the Arkansas Razorbacks on NCAA Football 14 with the updated rosters and the updates for 2020. That's why we call it NCAA Football 21. If you want to get these rosters, if you want to play with these rosters, you can join us on Patreon. Link is in the description of this video. Join us on Patreon, and you can get the updated rosters, all of the updates, and some other things as well if you just check out our Patreon page and join that. But you look at this Arkansas team, of course, Felipe Franks coming in to transfer. How much is he going to boost this offense? What will his rating be? This team has really struggled the last couple of years. We'll see if the roster is in place for maybe this team to have an improvement in 2020. Before we get into the roster preview, just wanted to quickly tell you how all of you can help out with these rosters and help us to make them as accurate as possible. If there are number changes for players, if there are incorrect years that you see on this roster, please let us know. Some of these rosters we started doing back before even the spring rosters had been released, so some of the freshmen didn't have numbers yet, and we're just going to go back and do those later. Or maybe some players changed their numbers. Maybe a guy got redshirted last year and we missed that, and we've got him as a senior and actually they're a redshirt junior or something along those lines. So if you see any of that, you can help us out there. Also, players that are no longer on the roster, maybe players that transferred that we had not taken off yet, you can remind us of those players, which of course I'm always checking the transfer portal. I'll come back and get that anyways, but it would just help out if something is put out there for us to make sure we don't miss it. A player that maybe has transferred, or a player that is not really expected to play much, not really on the two deep. If they're an upperclassman, we'll probably take those guys off the rosters and just tell us who you think they should be replaced with. Who do you think should be on this roster that is not? If it's a young player, a freshman, maybe they don't play, but they're still going to stay on the roster because you got to have those young players. The ratings are pretty much set, though. We have a specific formula that we use that's based off of a bunch of different numbers, stats. We use NFL Draft Scout for 40 times. If a player's not on there, we use their recruiting rating. A lot of different things. I'm not going to get into all of that, but those are pretty much set. You can make suggestions if you think a guy should go up or down if you'd like, but they're probably not going to change, at least until the depth charts come out, because at that point we will make some adjustments. We're not going to have a backup running back rated higher than a starting running back. Obviously that would make no sense, so there could be a little bit of adjustments there. Also, when the all-conference, all-American teams are announced, we may tweak some players in those cases as well, but for the most part it's all based off of this formula. Heights and weights, don't worry about that. We will come back and we will get all of those when the fall rosters are released, because those numbers can change anyway, so there's no point in trying to update that and then it changes again. So we'll knock that out once the fall rosters come out. But if you have any help here, if you guys follow your team closer than anyone. If this is your team, you probably know a little bit more about them than I do, and maybe you know some things that I just have missed or whatever. You can help us make these rosters as accurate as possible by giving us this information. I'll be constantly coming back and checking these comments. When I see something that jumps out, I'll make a note, and when I get back on that team, I will make the adjustments. And you will, again, have a chance to get these rosters, even if you don't join us on Patreon. Of course, if you join us on Patreon, you can get these rosters right now. You can get all the updates, and I really would encourage you to do that just to help us to kind of speed up this process with a little bit of funding. But if you can't, that's fine. We will probably, more than likely, we're going to release these rosters once they're complete. So it may be August or whatever, but we will give them out for free at some point. And also, you can just help us to make sure our simulations are as accurate as possible as we begin to ramp those up as well. But if you have any information here, please feel free to comment down below and give us any updates that we need to make. Here are the top players for Arkansas. You see Rakeem Boyd, their top rated player, a 90 overall. And then you got Bumper Pool, linebacker, 89. Joe Fauci, an 87. Felipe Franks, the transfer, he is an 86. Trey Knox, an 86. I think he has a chance to be one of the top receivers in the SEC. Maybe not this year, but maybe by his junior year. Dorian Gerald, an 84. You got Monteric Brown at cornerback, and Jerry Jacobs at cornerback, an 84 overall. I believe he was a transfer. And then you've got Traylon Burks, the wide receiver, 83, and Jonathan Marshall, 83. So we're going to go position by position and show you exactly what this Arkansas roster looks like. It's not too bad. I think, they've got the talent to have a decent year this year, maybe get back to a bowl game. Franks is an 86 overall. Then you got Malik Hornsby, the freshman. He is a 76. KJ Jefferson, 70, and then John Stephen Jones. Both guys played last year and just did not have great numbers, and I think that's why you see their rating so low. Will Hornsby have a chance to be the number 2 guy on the depth chart? I don't know, but he is the second highest rated player based off of our rating scale. So there's Rakeem Boyd at 90. Not really much behind him. You got TJ Hammonds a 74, Jackson a 73, Spivey a 72, and Dominic Johnson a 67. Moving on to the wide receiver position, again, Trey Knox, I should say, an 86. Traylon Burks an 83. They had a really nice recruiting class with the wide receivers back in 2019. Of course, Chad Morris now gone, but he was a part of that. And so I think you might see the receivers step up for them now that they are going into their second year. Mike Wood's going into his third year. He's an 80 overall. Deion Stewart a 77. Darren Turner a 76. Morris 75. Nash 74. Jackson 71. And Devion Warren a 68. So those are the wide receivers. Let's move on now to the tight ends. You got Hudson Henry a 77. Sutherland a 66 and Kern a 64. So while you did see some pretty good players on this roster, when you look a little deeper and you look at the depth, you see this team doesn't have a whole lot of depth. And a lot of these players that haven't played, their rating is, again, based off of their recruiting rating. And so that just, that can tell you how good these players actually are, because those services know what they're doing. They're not always perfect, but for the most part, they get it right. Myron Cunningham a 78. Curry 69, and Wana a 69 as well. Left guard, Kirby Adcock 73, Marcus Henderson 72, and Luke Jones a 70. You got Ty Clary at center, and he's an 80 overall. Clinton a 71 behind him. Stromberg a 78 at right guard, and Limmer a 70. Right tackle, Dalton Wagner a 76, and Ryan Winkle a 67. Going to the defensive side of the ball now, Dorian Gerald is an 84. Zach Williams a 71, Eric Gregory 71, and Julius Coates a 68. Other side, you got Xavier Kelly, the transfer from Clemson. He's an 81. Has a chance to be an impact player for them. Mateo Soli a 78, and Blaine Toll a 71. Interior of the defensive line, you got Jonathan Marshall an 83, Isaiah Nichols in a 77, and Nicholas Fullwider a 70. And again, I'm sorry if I get some of these names wrong. We go to the linebacker spot, Hayden Henry a 79, and Deion Edwards a 67. Middle linebacker spot, Levi Draper, transfer from Oklahoma, I believe. I think that's right. He's a 77. JT Towers is a 66. He's just a freshman. Andrew Parker, 65, and Grant Morgan, a 62. Bumper Pool, I think the best player on this line, on the whole defense, really. He's an 89. And then you've got Jashad Stewart, a 71. Kellen Burrell, a 69. And Cottrell Wallace, a 69. So a lot of freshmen there at that spot. Going to the cornerback spot, Monteric Brown, an 84. And Jerry Jacobs, an 84. I believe he transferred from, where did he transfer from? Louisiana Lafayette, maybe, or it was not a Power 5 team. But he you look at his numbers, really solid there. So we'll see what he can do. Jaquez McClellan, an 82. So three really good cornerbacks for this team. That's, I think, a bright spot for them. Ladarius Bishop, a 79. Malik Chavis, a 69. And Brito Tutt, a 67. Going to the safety position now, Fauci, an 87. Talked about him earlier. Miles Slusher, a 75. And Jalen Catalan, a 73. Greg Brooks Jr., an 82. Miles Mason, 77. Micah Smith, 73. And Nick Turner, a 69. AJ Reed is a 76. And Sam Loy, a 76 as well. So here are the ratings for, again, the top players for this Arkansas team. I think when you kind of look back on this team, look back at this roster, you see that they've got some talented players. A lot of their starters on both sides of the ball, really, are going to be pretty good. They've got some good receivers. They've got a great running back in Rakeem Boyd. They've got some good linebackers. Offensive line, I think, is going to be an issue for them. What will Felipe Franks bring to that quarterback spot? That's a big question as well. But all in all, Arkansas is going to be an interesting team to watch. New head coach. They didn't, we lost spring practice this year. So I think it may be a rough year for them again. With some nice young pieces in place there, and we'll see what this Arkansas team looks like. Can they maybe take a step forward, have a little bit of progress in 2020? What do you guys think about this roster? Let me know down in the comments below. Again, if you want to get these rosters right now, join us on Patreon. Just $5 a month, you can get the updated rosters, and we've got other things for you as well, and we'll continue to add things to our Patreon. But if you see anything that needs adjusting, anything that is incorrect, please let us know down in the comments below. Thanks for watching this video, and stay tuned for more here on the SG1 Sports YouTube channel.